Hello, everyone. My name is Ruben Diaz. I'm Instrument Program Scientist at Gemini and Interim Associate Director for Development. I'm going to talk about our current and future instrumentation. I think I will have to do it from here.
Oh, I see you do. Yeah, I would not.
Is it working?
Yeah. So don't use the.
Thank you, Dory. Well, first I want to clarify that I'm not going to cover all the details in the slides. The objective of the slide set is that you are able to download the set and look into the details and perhaps be motivated to make more questions and comments across the week to either me or all the instrument scientists that are here. So both Gemini telescopes are complemented by a suite of optical and infrared instruments. Our operational mode offers 4 facility instruments plus 1 adaptive optic unit in each site. The constraints by this limited number of facility instruments that we offer is not only set by the instrument support structure that can only hold 4 slots and 1 adaptive optic port, but also we are constrained by budget and staffing constraints and the need to run an efficient queue mode. We keep our set of instrument capabilities competitive in 3 ways: by replacing the least demanded instruments with new facility instruments. This is the most direct way, but of course it is the most resource consuming way. We also run an active instrument upgrade program, and we support a visiting and community instrumentation program. The table on the right shows the facility instruments that we are currently offering or planning to offer in the next semester. As you can see, we have a variety of modes. We offer currently 7 facility instruments, and we're about to start offering an 8th one, which is Ghost. The most important thing I would like to remark here is that the optical workforce instruments are almost identical, and they are used about 900 hours per year per site, each one. And each telescope also has a workforce near-infrared instrument, which is used at about 500 hours per year. Those are Geniers and Flamingos too. And we provide a spatial resolution of 0.5 arc second in the optical and 0.35 arc-seconds in the near-infrared in the best under the best natural seeing conditions. This is one of the fundamental requirements of the facility instruments, and we are able to provide image quality of about 80 milliseconds at Gemini North, thanks to the altered adaptive optic system. At Gemini South, we reach the diffraction limit at the K-band at 60 milliseconds, more or less, by means of the James adaptive optic system within a field of 85 arc-seconds on the side, which is a world-class capability. The facility instrument suite has to enable multi-instrument queue, as I mentioned it, and it has to enable switching between instruments in about 2 minutes. This is because while the telescope is luring to the next target, which takes about 1 or 2 minutes, the instrument must be configured and be ready to the observation. After the telescope is lured, during the first minute, we are closing the loops of the active optics on with the wavefront sensor system. And by the 4th minute, we are able to take the first images of the target. And if the target is bright enough and does not require sky subtraction, we are able to take the first spectra by the minute 5 or 6. This is also a world-class capability of Gemini, it has been offered in the last 15 years or so, and we are working hard to improve it, as you will see in Brian Miller talk during this week. We start with a quick review of the optical facility instruments. These are the Gemini, which are almost identical. As I mentioned, they have a wealth of modes to offer. They have almost 30 square minute field of view. They have log slits. They provide up to spectral resolution 8800, and they have a multi-object spectroscopy capability, which is quite demanded. They have two integral field unit options, which are fiber fed and have a sampling of 0.2 a second, which is well suited to the natural scene at each site. The Geminis are quite tall. They have 2 decades, but these are among the most scientifically productive instruments at Gemini. They have more than 2,000 papers, and so we keep upgrading them. We have, for example, upgraded the detectors twice in the last decade. The last time was in 2017 with the Hamamatsu detectors. And because we are seeing some issues, some noise issues, especially in one of the detectors at Gemini South, we are looking into the possibility of replacing one of the detectors, which is quite a resource-demanding task. It will require to recommission the focal plane of Gemini South. So we are also considering the possibility of eventually replacing the whole focal plane by a monolithic detector. The Geminis are very friendly to user-demanded upgrades, for example, new filters or new gratings. Genius is a workhorse near-infrared instrument at Gemini North. It offers a wealth of modes, including cross-dispersion and long slit, with resolution up to 18,000. And it can be used with the Altair adaptive optic system. If the base imaging capability at Gemini North, which is new, is not available, you can use the Genius acquisition system to take images within a small field of view with a variety of filters also. Genius is going through an important instrument that way. We are providing 2 IFUs, a low resolution IFU, which matches the natural scene at Mauna Kea. It has the field of view, the number of pixels, and the spectral resolution has some synergies with the low resolution, with the IFUR at GMOS North. So the users will be able to explore synergies between the optical and infrared integral field spectroscopy. The low resolution IFU currently being commissioned on Sky at Gemini North, and we are expecting the high resolution IFU by September. This high resolution IFU will have a sampling of 50 milliseconds and will provide a spectral resolution of 18,000, which is quite a unique capability. So we all look forward to having this at Gemini North. At Gemini South, the workhorse instrument is Flamingos 2, which provides wide field images, relatively wide field images, the widest field at Gemini at 6 minutes. It achieves a uniform spatial resolution of 0.4 seconds under good seeing conditions. It has a long slit mode, and we keep upgrading it. For example, we have provided recently upgraded spectroscopic filters, which increases the transmission in about 10%. We improved the thermal insulation, and we upgraded the utility wheel to add more filter slots because the users keep asking about having more filters permanently installed. We are offering the Flamingos 2 multi-object capability, which allows to place up to 150 slits on targets in a field of 12 square minutes, and a spectral resolution up to 2,000 and a superb image quality of 0.4 second. And we have started a feasibility study to report which are the resources needed to offer Flamingos 2 with the GEMS adaptive optics system. This will not only provide long silic spectroscopy, but also the possibility of doing multi-object spectroscopy within a field of 2 times 1 hour minute, corrected with GEMS adaptive optics system. Okay. Slight technical problem.
You go to the next turn.
Okay. Yeah, that works. So about NUI and NIS, we're going to simply mention that NUI is the base imaging capability, provides the base imaging capability at Gemini North. It has several camera options. It can work with the Altair adaptive optics facility. And NIS is also the base near-infrared integral field unit in the near-infrared for Gemini North, which will be soon complemented and perhaps superseded by the GNIR's IFUs. One important note is that NIS will be decommissioned in 2024 in order to release resources that will allow us to complete the commissioning of iGrains 2 and GPI 2.0, which we expect will demand a lot of resources during 2024. The Altair adaptive optics facility has been upgraded by having a new laser in 2019. And we're also looking into the possibility of improving the transmission of the dielectrics under 1 micron and over 2.4 microns. At Gemini South, we have GSOI, which is a primary imager for the adaptive optics system. As mentioned before, we have a corrected field of 85 arc seconds on the side. GSOI is quite stable. And for GEMS, we have upgraded the laser in 2018. We had a new natural guide star system in 2019. This allowed to go deeper into the wavefront sensor stars and, of course, increase the coverage and the stability of the system. In order to increase the stability of the system, we're also looking into an upgrade of the real-time computer. And where we have procured a third deformable mirror, this will serve as a spare of the already quite old deformable mirrors. They have more than 15 years, I think. And eventually, we could use the third deformable mirror to increase the scope of GEMS to the original scope that was thought to have 3 deformable mirrors. As mentioned before, we are looking into the possibility of having a spectroscopy with GEMS. About our future facility instruments, GHOST is currently being commissioned. I think Chris Hayes will give a talk about the first results this week. This is a high-resolution spectrograph which has high throughput, simultaneous continuous coverage across the whole optical range. It can provide a spectral resolution up to 75,000, and it can observe up to 2 targets plus the sky within a field of regard of 7.5 arc minutes. It was built by HIA and the Anglo-Australian Optics Group. Another important future facility instrument for us is iGrains 2. iGrains 2 is a high-resolution spectrograph which provides resolution of 45,000 in the H and K bands simultaneously. It is closely based in the original visiting iGrains. The PI is Chan Park, and the instrument is being built here by the Korean Astronomy and Space Science Institute. The whole project is progressing as planned into the assembly and integration phase, and we expect to be commissioning it in the second half of 2023.
That's the.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. GPI is our extreme negative optics imaging and polarimetry integral field spectrometer, which provides diffraction limited imaging of exoplanets and circumstellar material around bright stars. After completing its base science, GPI has been shipped to the University of Notre Dame and will be upgraded to increase the contrast and the sensitivity. This is also a multi-partner project by the University of Notre Dame, as mentioned, the University of San Diego, and HAA. We expect to have GPI 2.0 being commissioned at Gemini North in 2024. Scorpio is our most important future instrument at Gemini South. It is a multi-band instrument which will provide simultaneous coverage in the optical and the infrared. It will allow to take images in 8 channels within a field of view of 9 square minutes, and will also allow to do spectroscopy within these same 8 channels simultaneously with a resolution of about 4,000. It is designed for rapid acquisition and readout, and we expect to have it delivered on time for the start of the legacy survey of space at time of the Rubin Observatory. The integration will start soon. The Southwestern Research Institute is the main contractor, and we expect to start the commissioning in early 2024. Last but not least, we have GNO plus GEMOS. The future Gemini North Adaptive Optic Facility has been supported by an NSF award, Gemini in the area of the multi-messenger astronomy. GNO includes 4 side-launched laser beams, which will support 2 primary modes. One primary mode, which will have a correction that will significantly improve the natural scene within a field of 2 minutes, and another narrow field that will provide mere diffraction limited within 20 by 20 arcseconds. The PI is Gaetano Zero, who will also give a talk this week. And the first light instrument for GMO is a community-led instrument led by Suresh Sivanandan from the University of Toronto and funded by the Canadian Innovation Fund. GEMOS will provide wide field MOAO within the 2 minutes field of regard of GNO. It will have a multiple fuse when it's with its own complementary adaptive optics and will achieve a spectral resolution up to 8,000. It also has an imaging subsystem which will observe within the field of 2 by 2 minutes corrected by the wide field option of GNO. The project is progressing well. Although it is community-led, there is a significant involvement in the design of the instrument because we expect it to become a long-term resident or a facility instrument at Gemini North. The instrument is forecasted to arrive at the end of mid or end of 2026, in time to be commissioned with GNO in 2027. Okay.
That work?
No. Thank you.
I'll predict.
Well, as Nara mentioned, one of our strengths is diverse and inclusion, and the Visiting Instrument Program allows us to offer a more diverse instrument suite. The PIs have the opportunity to use their own instruments with support from Gemini Engineering and the operations staff, and this has been a very successful program. the demand of the visiting instrument at each site is around 30%, sometimes more, and the time that is finally used on sky is in the order of 20% of the available observing time. The visiting instrument program expands our capability to precision radial velocity to at the order of 20 centimeters per second of uncertainty. We are able to offer high resolution spectroscopy in the near infrared, and in the medium infrared, we can do high precision polarimetry, very rapid imaging, and we can also do spectral imaging in the optical. Finally, you will hear more about the Gemini instrumentation program. There are several talks in this meeting. Today we have Jeff Chilcott and Garima Singh talking about GPI 2.0, and Hyun Oh, who will talk about iGrains 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben, for that comprehensive overview. Are there any questions from either the in-person audience or online?
Okay, I will be available the whole week, and of course, there are many of our instrument scientists here also. So please explore this opportunity to talk with us.
Yeah, we can just wait for a moment to see if there's anybody, because it takes a while to type sometimes. Jen?
Thanks, Ruben. Maybe you could say a little bit about how the visiting instrument program works and what the process is like for bringing a visiting instrument to Gemini. And you know, as you said, some of these instruments are getting turned into facility instruments. So we have these transitional projects.
Yes, when a PI has built or is planning to build an instrument, he can approach us and, for example, request a letter of support that will allow the team to get more resources to complete the instrument construction. Or we can eventually, for example, support any adaptation, any change that the instrument needs to be used at Gemini. For example, in some occasions, we have funded the for optics of some visiting instruments. The first time that the PI comes, it has to receive an allocation of observing time via one of the national tags. And if the observing run is successful and the PI wants to come again with their instrument, they can do it, but this time they have to offer it to the community. In that case, we also ask the support from the team of the community, in the sense that they have to provide the reduced data, if at all possible. And in some cases in which the demand has been high through our national tags, we have considered the possibility of including them permanently. For example, Solo and Alopeke are speckle instruments that are installed permanently in our acquisition and guidance unit. They don't take a port, so that allows us to offer them almost permanently across the year. And other instruments like iGrains or Marunex, they are highly successful, and we expect to have them for a bit of more time. In some cases, we are in the case, for example, of Marunex, we are considering, we're starting to study how much resources we need to convert them into a permanent facility available at Gemini. Yeah. It takes quite a bit of resources to convert a visiting instrument into a facility instrument, because there are a series of constraints. One of them, the instrument has to be robust enough to allow us to make long-term planning. And it also has to allow operation in the queue mode.
Just out of curiosity, online and in the room, if you are working on instrumentation, can you raise your hand? Everyone in the back. Now, if you are interested in becoming involved in instrumentation, but do not yet work on it, and this is including people online, you can also raise your hands too. Can you raise your hand if you're interested in getting involved in instrumentation? Don't be shy. It's like, maybe.
There's one person online.
And one person online. Okay, now you see who everyone is, and it's just in time for the break, but before the break, there are a couple, well, let's give Ruben a nice round of applause again.
Sure.
Ruben.